Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, we're going to talk some boxing on what you need. You're watching my channel. Hope everybody's having a good time. We're back. What you need is back. It's been a little bit while before I could talk to you guys again because I sort of didn't have my phone. My phone was down for a good minute. So I'm back with you guys again. We're going to talk some boxing. I hope everybody's good. As you know, this channel is all about what you need. So the channel's going to be fueled by your comments. So we're going to be watching to see what you say, and based on your comments, we'll continue. So we got a lot of boxing that I missed or didn't get to catch up on in between this time and when you last saw me. So we're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to also kind of go back into time as well and talk about some fighters of the past as well. So we're going to do all of that in this particular discussion. But again, it's fueled by you. So when you leave your comments, I will see your comments, and then from there, we'll be able to pick it up from there. So that's what this session is for. It's always about you. I hope you guys are doing well in this COVID-19 environment. I hope some people are getting to go back to work and do some things. I myself, I'm going to go back to work as well today. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about boxing. First of all, I got some sad news for those of you who know El Nato, the Panamanian boxer, the super featherweight champion. We're talking really about here Ernesto Marcel. He passed away just a couple of hours ago at the age of 72. I just heard that update from someone here on YouTube. So that is some sad news. For those of you who don't know, Ernesto Marcel was known for facing people like um, the great Roberto Duran, and actually, I thought that it was a very close fight in which it could have gone either way. The referee just suddenly stopped the fight, and that was it, and raised Roberto Duran's hand. And boxing has evolved over time, so that once upon a time, referees actually were the guys that used to judge and score the fight. So in the case of Roberto Duran versus Ernesto Marcel, that was the situation. Now you're going to hear some competing noise in the background. That's a guy circulating around selling soil. So you're just going to have to just deal with that. I'm in a third world country, and I could have gone in an insulated room in my house so you wouldn't have heard this noise. But I'm going to leave it out here because I like the lighting out here. So anyway, Ernesto Marcel passed away at the age of 72. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I don't know if you guys even know who Ernesto Marcel is. There are a lot of great boxers through the history of boxing that have done great things in boxing, but just I think a lot of people don't know about them. Um, Ernesto Marcel actually was robbed a couple times in his career, but he was supremely beautiful in watching how he did the untelegraphed right hand. He just popped that right hand out there and hit you with it, and it stun you, and then he do his thing after that. Um, Ernesto Marcel, besides that, he also beat the great. Yes, this is live, Last Samurai. How you doing, brother? This is live. Yeah. He also beat the great the guy that the Hawk beat. Hey man, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, the Last Samurai. Again, everything's fueled by you guys. Don't forget to smash the like button if you like what you're seeing. Um, so you get to ask the questions. Feel free to ask any question, Last Samurai, anytime you feel like it. But yeah, Ernesto Marcel. Those who don't know who El Nato is, you should really go look him up and look up his fights. Extraordinary little fighter. Um, really a class act when it comes to in the ring. I mean, he's been robbed a couple times. He beat the crap out of a Japanese fighter, and it was a championship fight for the super featherweight championship, and they literally robbed him of the championship. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Um, so yeah, he also hold on one second. Some background noise is gonna happen, but he basically he beat some guys that you guys probably know. One of them is the guy that the Hawk beat, Aaron Pryor. I'm trying to remember his name right now. Just slipped me for a minute there. But Chocolate Tito was mentored by this guy. I forgot what his name is. Nicaraguan guy. You guys know the name of who I'm talking about? If you do, just put it in the comment section then. Hold on 1 second. Kitchen garden and other plants. Yes, check us out. Yes, so yeah, for those of you who don't know, you know, a lot of people knew Pernell Whitaker, so the whole world kind of, but people should really know about Ernesto Marcel. Hell of a fighter. The guy's coming to me and it's just popping out the name of the guy, the Nicaraguan fighter. But it's okay. So I just wanted to pay my respects. Excellent fighter. For those of you who don't know who Ernesto Marcel is, you guys need to go look him up. Was offensively, he had great offensive weapons. His defense was mostly his feet. He danced around the ring in the early rounds, pick you off in the early rounds. And then he just come in with those untelegraphed rights and start striking at you. In and out action, kind of like a Manny Pacquiao, but not really. And man, he would just, you know, he had the little high guard thing. You know, he put up his high guard. He was doing his defense. Could fight on the inside, could fight on the outside. Great fighter. I believe if they haven't inducted him in the Boxing Hall of Fame, they will induct him in the Boxing Hall of Fame. All right. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that brief update. That's this very sad thing. We just lost a really great fighter. I don't know people. Last Samurai says, boxing fan from the UK. I'm all good. Thanks. I'll check him out. You should, man. You should check him out. Ernesto Marcel. You know, I think he more reigned in the 70s to the early 80s, I think, and he got out the game, you know. But yeah, you know, there's a number of really great fighters in boxing that nobody ever talked about, and one of them is Ernesto Marcel. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of them. Fantastic fighters who did some fantastic things in their career, but we just don't talk about them today. So hopefully, you know, Flash Elliott, you know, God, there's so many of them. You know, just there's a lot of boxes. There's a lot. Boxing has a very rich history. Okay, but we'll get into that sometime. But you guys, that's the first bit of news. Sad news that I just want to break to everybody. Of course, we have a ton of other news in boxing that's pretty exciting. We can start off, if you want, with the heavyweights, and we can work our way back from there. First of all, this is again negative news, but we gotta get it out there. Jarrell Baby Miller failed yet another drug test, and I know it makes a lot of people fume and angry because this guy gets a second chance. He gets a contract with Top Rank. They sign him, and then bam, he fails another drug test. Nevada catches him dirty again. Now, some people are crying right now. Set up. You know what I'm saying? Last time I says, yeah, he blown his chance again. Some people saying this is a setup. You know, he being set up by, you know, Vada and Top Rank. I can't say that. What I could say to you is, what is motivating these guys to take a second chance at cheating? What is motivating them to take a second chance at cheating? This guy had been found dirty before. And I just don't understand how, after you've been found dirty, you say you're going to turn a new leaf. You apologize to your fans for being found dirty. Then you go back and be found dirty again. So what is it that makes these fighters do this again? I'm going to tell you what. This is the true reason. A lot of fighters are doing this. A lot of fighters are dirty. And a lot of fighters are getting away with it. And so he didn't think that this second time, especially with the promoter of Top Rank, Bob Arum, he would be caught again, back to back. Povetkin was caught twice doing the same thing. Now, we found out later on that the levels of whatever it was in his stuff was actually coming from food. This is what they were saying. All right. And WADA has actually put a cap on what level, because certain drugs like clenbuterol and with Canelo and so on, we found out that it's not just detecting it in your system. In some countries where farmers are not doing the best protocol, they're using clenbuterol to get the bulls and the cows that they want for meat, to get them a certain lean looking mass, and that contaminated meat is getting into food. And so we had guys like Eric Morales who had levels of clenbuterol. We had Canelo having levels of clenbuterol. We had this kid just very recently got caught using clenbuterol. But really and truly, it's a certain level of clenbuterol, and then you look at the background of the fighter to see. So WADA changed the rules, and so they are now allowing for a leeway in the sense that somebody gets caught a certain level of clenbuterol. It got to be a certain level of it. Okay. Now they're gonna query it and ask the fighter a little bit about the history of what happened, and then on top of that, they're gonna find out now, and they're gonna identify using several other tests if this fighter that they asked is actually legitimately dirty. Because sometimes they do a series of other tests on the fighter, and they find out, okay, this is legitimate, and then they go through the normal protocols. Yeah, this person really was dirty. And just asking the fighter questions about what they ate, where they may have been, is not enough. Okay, you do follow-up tests, because a fighter could easily say, "Oh yeah, I'm living in Mexico. I use it's tainted meat." That may be not the truth. So you have to follow up and follow up tests, and they did follow up tests on Canelo, and that's why his name was cleared, because Canelo was vehement that he did not take tainted meat. I personally don't really have any opinion on the issue, but as of now, the WBC had rescinded his fines and so on upon him, and WADA, which is the governing body that determines tainted meat and stuff, they reverse that decision, but they keep the records just there for records purposes, of course. So it's not always that a fighter who has been detected by a system, you know, especially with VADA, because VADA, they're staying with what they say. If you got a trace of clenbuterol, they're gonna pick it up and then they're gonna reflect it. But when you're looking at USADA, they use discretion, understanding the background of fighters and so on, and so they look at it, they note it if it pops up again, but they don't really they use their discretion on it. I think between VADA and USADA, just on a side note here, since we're talking about drug testing, and shout out to my brother again, Last Samurai, who just said something. Let me see what you just said. Last Samurai said, "Some are getting away with it for sure, but Miller was stacked. The meat's a loophole. No smoke without fire, man. For sure, for sure. I agree." And fighters, Tyson Fury up to recently said, it was the meat, whatever. I get you. But what I'm saying is that in terms of certain cases, I'm not saying all, certain cases, you can follow up, as I said before, with several other tests to confirm if this is so or not. Now, with respect to Jarrell Miller's case, he definitely was caught dirty. This is the second time, and it's not just one PED. He got caught with 2 PEDs. Okay, so I'm just like, this dude need to be banned from boxing. His career in boxing's over. All right, his career in kickboxing, I think, came to an end because of that same reason. This guy be using stuff. Deontay Wilder had pointed out that this guy was using stuff from a long time back. Okay, guys be using stuff and then they get found out. Okay, Deontay Wilder talked about Povetkin. He talked about Luis Ortiz. It's really, to me, if you guys want to know what hurts the sport, this hurts the sport. But the problem with it is it's still very prevalent among elite fighters. It's prevalent. That's why these guys will keep on doing it. They keep on doing it, not because they don't any other way, because other fighters are getting away with it, and nobody's talking about it. And Deontay Wilder said it's rampant in the heavyweight division. All right, and I'm not saying that Deontay Wilder is clean either, but I'm just saying he hasn't been caught. All right, but I'm just saying is the fact that he could say that, there has to be truth in it, and he probably knew that these guys were dirty all along. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about it. But Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury was caught using stanzolol, I think it was stanzolol. And again, why? Anyways. So I think it's a major issue, and I think it's something that I was listening to Tommy Temper. Shout out to Tommy Temper on here. I've been able to talk to you, Tommy, in a long time. I've been trying to contact you, but I haven't seen you kind of pop up. But I've seen your channel do one or two things on here. But shout out to Tommy Temper, because Tommy Temper was talking about how easy it was for people to use PEDs, especially in elite sports. And boxing is so backward. Like they're talking about I listen to Blue Blood Sports TV, Dante's Boxing Nation, Akai Sports TV talk about the issue with you know with commissions, and how commissions miss a lot of stuff. Okay, that boxing is so still backward when it comes to PEDs, and even though the BBB of C has been doing a relatively good job, and VADA and USADA, they still are behind these guys. And it's the same thing in sports with track and field. They're still behind these guys. USADA and all the other WADA governing bodies are still behind these guys. And in certain places, like Russia, they've been just frequently using PEDs. This is a documented information. That's why they were kicked out of the last Olympics or something like that, because these guys were literally frequently using PEDs in their athletes. And I think a whole team or a set of athletes from Russia was actually disqualified for the Olympics for that very reason. So, and it's rampant also in almost all sports, and especially contact sports like football, where they were using PEDs up to very recently. Now that people starting to kind of pay attention to that. And the UFC, they have USADA, and USADA's been catching guys over and over again who've been using PEDs. And the thing about PEDs is this: PEDs don't help you to win diddly squat. They just help with specific things, whether it's losing weight or whatever, right? Speed, endurance, whatever. Oxygenation of your body, whatever. They don't help you win fights. I know guys use PEDs and they lost fights anyway. And I listened to accounts from boxers talking about how they lost fights to certain people who were using PEDs. Hold on one second. Let me just handle this situation. Okay. So this is something that is pretty prevalent in boxing, but also in all sports, but still it's a problem. All right. And of course, it wasn't brought to attention until, of course, Mayweather Pacquiao, where Mayweather was the kind of one of the forefront guys in starting to talk about cleaning up sports in general, using using independent anti-doping agencies, and he brought in USADA for that. But it's not like boxers haven't reported this before, okay? And boxers haven't been caught using PEDs before. It's just been done before, all right? Now, the point I'm making anyway is this: that some people say, well, just let them use PEDs and let everybody use PEDs, and it would be all a level playing field. I'm like, no. I believe that PEDs have a harmful effect on your body. If you're using natural PEDs, which are natural things like nuts, when you use natural methods of oxygenation, fresh air, and all that, they're also performance enhancing. They're not drugs, but they're performance enhancing chemicals or substances, or performance enhancing methods and techniques. It's not harmful to your body. Think Flojo. Flojo was using PEDs to race. She ended up dying of a heart attack. Okay, why? Because she's damaging her body at the same time as she's optimizing herself to sports. Now you say, well, it's not a crime if you want to damage your own body. That's on you. I'll say yes, but then on top of that, in a contact sport like boxing, boxers are dying in that ring because other boxers are using PEDs. So you might withstand all the punishment in the ring, but after everything has died down, okay, now you got the swelling of your organs, or the bleeding of your organs, or you got the swelling of your brain, and you die. Okay, we've seen guys take punishment in the ring, and then they come out the ring, they had a collapse a few minutes later, or they go home, they do their thing, they get a little headache, and then all of a sudden they got to be rushed to the hospital, and some of them die. Okay, so the question is, some of these fatalities in boxing, as Paulie Malignaggi so correctly pointed out, It's because nobody's talking about the elephant in the room. They want to talk about dehydration. They want to talk about WBC wants to talk about dehydration. They want to talk about how fighters need to be on weight and all of that. But they're not talking about the elephant in the room, which is PEDs. Okay? PEDs. And they know that the elite fighters especially are using it. Okay? So that's the problem. And we need to address that issue as soon as possible. Again, I'm entertaining your questions. I'm called What You Need. This channel is What You Need. So please bring forth something so that we can interact and interface with one another. It's one thing for me to just talk about subjects and topics, but it's better if I have somebody to interface with you guys. And you can just keep on talking. Whatever you want to ask about, talk about, discuss, let's go. Let's go. That's what this channel's for. So I believe that it's very prevalent in boxing, and that's the reason why, or at least the reason for Jarrell Miller decided to take a second shot at it, because everybody else is getting away with it, so he felt he could get away with it. I think that's what it was. It was basically, and he got caught again. So I think there's a bigger problem that we are looking at, but I'm glad that he got caught, and I'm glad that they're gonna have to handle that issue immediately. Because some guys just continuously get away with it, and they get to fight again and again and again. I don't find that cool. That's not cool. That's not cool. So let's talk about another topic that is in boxing. This one's more of I don't know. I don't know if I really want to bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Okay. So Tyson Fury responds to Deontay Wilder, who says that he will make a statement on Tyson Fury tampering glove issue. The Last Samurai says, shout out to The Last Samurai again for the interface. I'm a huge Fury fan. I'm a traveler myself, but facts are facts. He cheated and paid the price. Same with Billy Joe. Same with White. But he got his sample. Lost. Man. What am I going to say about that? I'm going to say you're right, 100%. Again, with Tyson Fury, at least, it seems that way. I'm not going to say nothing yet, because here's the thing about that issue. I'm not talking about the tampered gloves. I'm talking about the drugs. He got caught up. He got left off the case because somebody came and testified that he had given Tyson Fury and some other people wild boar meat. The guy comes back after all of that in an interview and says, no, he didn't give Tyson Fury wild boar meat because he never even had wild boars. Okay. One way or the other, he's lying. And to have a guy that lies go up on the stand, his evidence therefore cannot be considered as, because he just perjured himself, cannot be considered as concrete evidence to let Tyson Fury off the hook, because the guy, we don't know if we could believe, he's not credible. So I don't know how he got off the case with that. And I like you, Last Samurai, I actually really appreciate the sweet science that Tyson Fury brings to the ring. I believe that he's the best heavyweight out there. I believe that Tyson Fury has that it factor. I find him somebody who you are magnetized towards. You want to see him every single time. You want to see him talk and carry on, even though he said some really stupid things about I don't fully, well, I don't want to say it's fully stupid, because he is a gypsy, he's a traveler, and therefore I respect him for that. But I think he said some really dumb things about Anthony Joshua. I know he was just antagonizing Anthony Joshua because he's going to have to face him next. But a lot of people are going to look at it and really think that this dude's callous. Like, how can you not have a heart for what is happening? What happened to a guy who just got executed by police, right? But I guess he never been through that, so he can't relate. But I'm just saying, but he is a traveler, and I respect him, because this man has gone to his opponent's country. He went to Vladimir Klitschko's Germany and beat his ass. He went to the United States of America and beat Deontay's ass. The first time he beat him, and then the second time he said, okay, I'm not gonna leave it in the judge's hands, and he beat him. Okay. And no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't want to make excuses and stuff. Don't make no excuses. Now, he did cheat. with the gloves. All right. I do agree with that. But the way how he cheated with the gloves is kind of like so clever because it's like a technical, clever kind of way of cheating. He didn't come straight out, load up his gloves with something, or he didn't come straight out and what's the word? He may have manipulated the gloves so that his knuckles was in there. I didn't really see that in the second fight. Um, but what I do know is he cleverly manipulated this glove in the first fight. In the second fight, the gloves looked sort of okay, I guess. I don't know. But my point is, I know he cheated with that too. The first fight at least. And I'm just saying that you don't need to cheat, man. You better than this dude. You showed it. You showed you were better than this dude. You don't need to cheat to win this dude. You don't need to cheat to beat this guy. But again, I think a lot of guys always want to get that edge. They always want to get that edge over their opposition. They always want to add that little extra something against them. And I'm just saying, he's the A side now. Deontay Wilder's the B side. So he can make demands how he wanted and all that. And I'm gonna just say this: that Tyson Fury, hopefully at least in this fight coming up, I hope that he would try and what's the word I'm looking for? Keep it straight as possible. But use the mental game. Use what you're good at. Beat the guy before you even go in there and beat him. Use your gift of mental. Use your mental edge on him. You stopped him the first time, and then of course you're a boxer, so the second time around it should be easier for you than the first. I'm not saying he will. I know Wilder's preparing for him, but the question is, use your mental edge. You don't have to. You don't have to try and bend the rules to get an edge. That's the problem I have with people. One thing you can't fault Manny Pacquiao with is he legally looked at ways to get an edge over his opponent. I will not say no more about him and the PEDs thing because I just want to leave that alone for the moment, right? But I think it's an issue in boxing, PEDs. And now when we look at Wilder, saying that he's gonna make a statement about Tyson Fury and blunt objects being hitting him in the head because the doctor said he had a dent in his head. I would personally say this about the issue. Wilder can go out and make a statement about that if he so wishes. Okay, his brother made a statement on behalf of him. I will say this. It's good for hyping the fight and keeping controversy, but Wilder needs to focus on not making that too much of an issue and focus on his boxing because at the end of the day, Tyson Fury did outbox him. Okay? And Wilder was not prepared for that strategy. He just wasn't prepared for that strategy. Just like how Anthony Joshua wasn't ready for Andy Ruiz to just wreak up hell on him on the inside. Same thing with Wilder. But just the Tyson Fury was taller. Right? I thought, and then again, Tyson Fury was dropped in the fight before, so he had experienced Wilder's power. He knew how to prepare for it. I thought that Tyson Fury did an excellent job on Deontay Wilder, fight-wise. I don't think that, and this is the problem, and this is what gets me angry. I don't think that even if Tyson Fury couldn't knock out Deontay Wilder, that was a fight that was Tyson Fury's fight. And ultimately, in the end, Wilder was going to lose that fight. Even Tyson Fury didn't knock down Deontay Wilder. He was roughing him up. He was beating him up on the inside. And also he was manhandling him on the outside. He had control of range. Point blank, period. Okay? So even if he never dropped Wilder, just the way how he was fighting, he was gonna get that double. Of course, the judges would not have been able to deny him, but he knew he had to knock out Wilder, so he was going for the knockout. He was going to make sure he knocked his ass out. And he put incredible amounts of pressure behind a really controlled, really well defensed, controlled aggression. Okay, he had a great game plan. So I gotta give Tyson Fury his credit for that. But as to Wilder's allegations that he wants to report on, then all of these boxing channels that have been saying their pieces on it, and then putting Mayweather's name in the mix. Shouldn't put Mayweather's name in the mix. That's an excerpt from Mayweather versus Maidana, where Maidana had uh, gloves which didn't have padding in the knuckle area. Okay, I don't think that they should do that because Mayweather didn't say that. They made it sound like Mayweather said something about it, like he had some comments to say on Tyson Fury, and that was not the case. Okay, but what I would say is this: that I don't know if there was padding in the gloves. Like I'm not gonna go with what people are just saying because there's no facts. That's just a speculation that there wasn't padding in the gloves. Okay, there's no visible evidence of that. And sunken gloves, that's cool, but I didn't see any sunken gloves in the second fight. But what I would say is that there is a history of Tyson Fury cheating. Okay, and that's not cool. Okay. And yes, commissions can miss things. And yes, the way how he did his thing in the first fight, particularly, had me sort of, I was like, well, okay, cool, Okay, if that's all the questions you guys have, let me just run through the other topics. So the other topics, I saw a lot of things going on right now. We see that Jorge Linares, he is not going to be facing Devin Haney, according to reports. He's not facing Devin Haney. He's not facing Ryan Garcia. He's going to be facing next Javier Fortuna. I believe I have the right name. That's a good matchup. It's a good matchup. I don't know what's happening with Luke Campbell. I don't know if Luke Campbell's going to face Javier Fortuna or what. But I think that matchup is happening because there's not a lot of fans. A lot of fans can't come into arenas. I think there's a misunderstanding between Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya. And I think Ryan Garcia wanted the Jorge Linares fight, but he couldn't get it down. He couldn't get down the Jorge Linares fight. And I think maybe that is why he withdrew from the telecast, where he was supposed to fight next some guy. I don't know who he was. And I think him and Oscar got this little rift right now going on. But honestly speaking, Ryan Garcia, he should just keep fighting. Keep fighting, rack up your fights, and that's what he should keep doing. I know this is not a popular opinion, and a lot of people want to think that Oscar De La Hoya doesn't have Ryan Garcia's best interest, but Oscar actually has Ryan's best interest right now. And Ryan's thinking about getting paid, and I'm like, Ryan, this is not a time for you to be talking about that. You should be trying to get experience, get as much fights under your belt as you can, stay ready, stay sharp. That's what he should be doing. And so I think it's a bad move on his part. That's my official opinion on it. And hopefully he'd be able to let Oscar sometimes make some decisions for him. Yes, I know Oscar, like with Canelo, sometimes they make bad decisions for Canelo. I do believe that Canelo wanted to have the Demetrius Andrade fight, and I think Oscar and his team kind of sabotaged that, and sabotaged the IBF title because Oscar really wants to push for Canelo versus GGG. Oscar wants that fight. Canelo doesn't want that fight. Okay, Canelo wants to face other guys, and I think there's just this little rift between Canelo and Oscar on those issues. If it was up to Canelo, if you ask me, Canelo would have faced Demetrius Andrade, and he would have unified all the belts, and that would have been that. Okay, that didn't work out. So he got the fight that he wanted, which was Sergey Kovalev. He was really amped about that. He always wanted to face Sergey Kovalev. He finally got Sergey Kovalev. He got it after Anthony Yarde had sort of done some biz on Sergey Kovalev, which was kind of sad because Canelo wanted that fight since after the Elita Alvarez fight. Okay, but he had to wait because Anthony Yarde wanted his shot at Kovalev, and right after Anthony Yarde had a shot at Kovalev, Canelo wanted his shot at Kovalev. But that's how that worked out. But again, the thing with Canelo that really messes up everything, because Canelo was a guy who used to call out for the big fights. He always wanted the big fights. He went and just went with what WBC was doing and took the franchise belt so he could face Kovalev instead of facing Jamal Charlo, which, in my opinion, is a tougher challenge than Sergey Kovalev, even though Sergey Kovalev had done a lot at light heavyweight and was the number one ranked light heavyweight by ESPN and Ring. He was the number one light heavyweight, but yet he wasn't the best light heavyweight. You know what I mean? He was much older and everything, and he had shown vulnerabilities. You had Artur Beterbiev out there, Dmitry Bivol out there, and at the time you had Vordik. Okay, obviously Beterbiev is unified with Vordik, so it is what it is. But we had those guys out there. Canelo could have faced if he wanted to go up to light heavyweight. The reason why I say that is because Jamal, as much as he showed vulnerabilities against inside fighters like Adams, okay, and he showed susceptibility to like southpaws with the left hook and stuff from Matt Carball, he still was strong. He was a very strong fighter, physically strong fighter. And so while I see Canelo beating him, and I still see it to this day, Canelo beating Jamal Charlo, he would have been a tougher challenge for Canelo. Canelo wasn't going to stop Charlo. That ain't going to happen. Canelo not stopping Charlo. Okay, he didn't stop Danny Jacobs. He's not stopping Charlo. Okay, and so that would have been a good fight for Canelo. Charlo having come up from 154, where he was a champion as well, undefeated fighter. That would have been a great fight for Canelo. He gave up his franchise belt to go face Sergey Kovalev. Okay. And not give up his franchise belt. He gave up the WBC belt to go face Sergey Kovalev. I don't know if he's ever going to come back down to middleweight. And the thing I'm saying is, that's not Canelo I know. Canelo would have faced that challenge. He would have jumped up and gone against Jamal Charlo. Just like how he jumped up against Eric Salena. He's like, all right, let's go. And he went up against Austin Trout. He went up against Mayweather. These are guys he chose. This is what he wanted to do. This was not what Golden Boy wanted to do. This is what he wanted to do. Then Oscar came after he had beaten Sergey Kovalev and said Canelo can do whatever Canelo wanted to do. Canelo can do whatever Canelo. So I'm looking forward. And then here Canelo wanted to face Billy Joe Saunders. That's a damn good fighter. Okay. A lot of y'all don't realize Billy Joe Saunders is very, very, very good. He's very good. Okay, y'all can say what you want about him because he smack talks and he talks a lot of shit and he says a lot of controversial things and he even says some really downright sexist and racist things, which are just despicable. But at the end of the day, when it comes to boxing and fighting, this guy can do it. He can do it. Okay. Now, the thing about it is Billy Joe kind of sabotaged that, and then the COVID-19 came into the picture, so we didn't get to see Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. That would have been a good opponent for him. But the guys that we really wanted him to see was obviously I just wanted to see him against Demetrius Andrade. He had done enough for me because he showed me he beat Danny Jacobs. Okay, everybody said he was ducking. People forgot that. So I just wanted to see him face Demetrius Andrade. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So, hearing these rumors about possible opponents for Ryan Garcia, I'm not Ryan Garcia, Jorge Linares facing Javier Fortuna. That's great. That's a great matchup. I just think that Ryan Garcia, I think Oscar De La Hoya is looking out for the best interest of Ryan Garcia, and I think that Oscar De La Hoya is doing a good job of bringing Ryan Garcia along. And they wanted Jorge Linares next, but I mean, you ain't got it's not going to be a pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to have nobody going into the stands to see that. So they're holding off on that for the moment, until, I mean, it is the zone. No, what is it? Yeah, they were the zone, right? Yeah, it is the zone, so it's a more subscription-based thing, but I guess they're holding it off because they don't have no live audience. All right? That's the COVID-19 thing, so they want to kind of save those bigger fights for later and just have Ryan just fights and kind of just develop and fine-tune his craft, which I think is a good idea. But the fact that Linares is facing Javier Fortuna, but again, they're facing them without fans, or at least later on this year. Hopefully, the COVID-19 thing kind of dies down enough so that people can go in and actually watch these fights because that's how you make your money, right? So that's a good fight. That's a good fight. It's good to see boxing coming back, and we having a lot of ESPN fights. I haven't really watched any of them, even though Mika Burchell just fought recently, and I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it against the opponent to see how he looked and everything. I think he stopped his opponent. Um, but that would have been a fight I would have liked to watch because of Mika Burchell, of course, both Burchell. Um, and then of course, I think I may have talked about this before or not. Shakur Stevenson actually fought at super featherweight, and he might stay at super featherweight. And he beat his last opponent. Um, Stopped him with a body shot on the inside. So he developed his game. So that's also interesting. Then we look at okay. We look at what's his name? Jamal Herring is also in that division, and of course Jamal Herring would like to have a fight with Mika Burchelt, but there's also another guy, Oscar Valdez, is in that division as well. So we got Oscar Valdez. That's a packed division, actually, when you think about it. You got Oscar Valdez in there. You got Mika Burchelt. He's the longest reigning champion there. You got uh you got damn, the hell. Leo Santa Cruz is in that division. Leo Santa Cruz is in that division. You got Jamel Herring with a belt. Tevin Farmer is in that division. Jojo Diaz is in that division. All right. It's a hot division, actually. It's a hot division. You got who else did I miss out? It's Shakur Stevenson, Jojo Diaz, Tevin Farmer, Jamal Herring, Miguel Berchelt, Leo Santa Cruz, and then of course coming down into that division will be Javante Davis. Javante Davis is going to come down into that division. Who knows? Lomachenko might, after, if he can, or if he, whether he loses or wins after his unification, he might go down into that division. So that would be a hot division. Right now, the lightweight division is pretty hot, as well as the super featherweight division. We got a couple of really good names in those both divisions. So that's an interesting thing, actually. When when I stop and think about it, I don't know what you guys think about that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, but that's a pretty hot division, man. So yeah, this is what we have, and so Miguel Belcher just recently won his fight. He may have a pick of maybe he wanted to unify with some other world champions. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what he does. But as of now, that is what we're looking at in the division. It looks really hot. It looks like a really hot division. That I would love to see all those guys rumble with one another. We don't know how much of a reality that can be, but it'd be nice if it could happen. Of course, we also saw in boxing the news about the rankings for the best welterweight of all time. And at the top of the rankings was Sugar Ray Leonard, and then I think second in the rankings was Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather had an issue with that, and so he spoke about it. I personally don't think that any one of those guys, I don't think Sugar Ray Leonard, I don't think Floyd Mayweather, I don't think Sugar Ray Robinson, I don't think none of those guys are the top welterweights of all time. I'm sorry, just no. And there's a lot of great welterweights, right? We had Carmen Basilio, Jose Napoles. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker. We had a lot of great welterweights throughout the ages, right? But I think that the greatest welterweight of all time is Henry Armstrong. There's a number of different reasons for that, but if you're just speaking about welterweight and the welterweight weight class, you're not talking about lightweight, you're not talking about middleweight, you're just focus on welterweight alone. And the accomplishments in welterweight, I think Henry Armstrong, hands down, has accomplished more than any other welterweight in the welterweight division. He was world champion, an undisputed world champion at that, and he remained that way for 20 fights. I think it's exactly 20 fights. I think he had 19 defenses, which were successful. And of those 19 defenses, he had a substantial percentage of them that ended in KOs. Okay, this guy was a machine. Now, he did have a number of rematches in there, but I'm just saying, nobody, first of all, had that many welterweight consecutive championship wins. Nobody in the history of all boxing. Okay. Second of all, this guy couldn't even make the welterweight limit. Okay. And I think the welterweight limit at the time was 147 or 145. I'm not too sure which one. This guy came in like on average 135, 133. He was a lightweight fighting that welterweight almost his entire career. Okay. No, not his entire career. I mean, his championship career, that is, at welterweight. I'm not going to talk about the other belts he was going for while he was at welterweight. Okay, while he was at welterweight, this guy had the lightweight belt, he had the featherweight belt, and he was going after the middleweight belt while he was fighting championship fights at welterweight with very few stay busy fights in between those championships. One championship fight after the other. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. Ain't got nobody in the history of boxing that did that. Okay? Not that many fights, first of all, at welterweight, at the championship level. Okay? At a championship winning streak like that. And there's nobody in boxing that came in constantly undersized and still would get guys out of there through attrition and just working on the inside. I'm just saying, Henry Armstrong, by far, I don't care what nobody say, he is the greatest welterweight of all time, period. The best is not the best welterweight of all time, but he is the greatest welterweight of all time. Okay? And then go watch his fights. Go watch the fights you can get when he was welterweight champion. You'll see what I'm talking about. Great fighter. Great fighter. Great fighter. You know, and that's what puts him up there with all the other all-time greats. That's what puts him up there with all those all-time greats. I don't understand how anybody else could put anybody else above Henry Armstrong. When you're talking welterweight weight class, championship welterweight fights at the championship level, at the top level, fighting the Hall of Famers, you know, top level guys. Some people say other all-time greats, fine, whatever. Now, some of those guys were small guys, right? Some of the guys were not small guys. You know, some of the guys he met at welterweight, some of the guys he met at lightweight, okay? Some of the guys even came up from super featherweight and fought him at welterweight. But my point being that he accomplished something that no other welterweight champion ever did. Just what it is. Okay, he's got the record for the most welterweight championship fight wins. That's it. That's what it is. You cannot beat that. So I think he's the greatest welterweight of all time. And so that's the first point. Now Floyd gave some points, which I absolutely agree with as well. I've been on different boxing groups stressing, because a lot of people stress on his you know, he was undefeated. That's part of the equation. But really, the more amazing thing is this guy was able to face the best in his entire era, the very best that he could face, and beat them all. See, it's one thing to say you're undefeated. That could mean 2-3 different things. Okay, that could mean one, you didn't face competition that could beat you. So, and probably competition anybody else could have beaten. So yeah, okay, you're undefeated. 2, it could mean that, okay, you're undefeated, but you had some no contests. So that's why. Or you had some draws. This is not the case with Floyd Mayweather. Okay? He beat everybody that came in front of him. Now, when Manyothon recently was 54-0, and people said, well, he's TBE and stuff. And we know they're just clowning. But my point being that I'm so happy for Chai Munsri, because as far as I'm concerned, he accomplished something that very few fighters could accomplish, which is, one, he became world champion. That starts to narrow down in the history of boxing. That starts to narrow him down into a unique set of people who he became world champion. Okay, he became a world titleist first. And he was successful at defending his world title 10 times. Or should I say 9 times? Or should I say, no, I think it's 11 times. Because he was 12. He had 12 championship wins. So it's 11 times he successfully defended it. And that is huge, because it's one thing to be a world champion, but then prove that you are a true champion by winning, not losing a single fight, not drawing a single fight, not having a no contest, beating everybody in front of you. You gotta give the guy respect for that. You know what I'm saying? Now the caliber of opposition he faced was not, the best in his division. Okay, because clearly we had Heckley Butler and we had a bunch of them. I was a big fan of Heckley Butler from South Africa. So, and there was a bunch of other guys in there that I'm not mentioning who were world champions. While he was world champion, he had the opportunity to face them. He did not face them. Now, intangible boxing was expressing a point that, it's kind of hard to do unifications because the guys got to pay extra sanction fees and stuff. But if you really want to be great, right, like everybody like to talk about, all right, maybe don't pay the sanctioning fee. Okay, maybe get stripped of your WBC title. Maybe the other guy gets stripped of his title. But face each other. Face each other. Right? Face each other. And become undisputed if you can. But just show you can beat the best that's there. Or just be one of them. One of them. You don't have to be all of them, but he never really did that, okay? But he was a true champion. He defended his title as a true champion should. Shout out to Intangible Boxing. What's up, man? I just mentioned you. I don't know. You guys probably watching my thing and it's not registering on this thing. Shout out. You can talk, discuss, say whatever you want. I'm gonna wrap this up in a couple minutes, but you can talk, discuss, say whatever you want on this channel right now. And we that's what you need is here for, right? Yeah, so but you can't take it away from China. I see people making fun of him. I don't like that. The man was a world champion. You never been a world champion. You never accomplished nothing in your damn life. Don't be making fun of the dude. And I think that Chacha, he's one of my favorite fighters. I like to watch him fight. Okay, I really like to watch him fight. And he got the fundamentals down pat. He got beautiful footwork. He can fight on the inside, can fight on the outside. Not greatest power. They small guys, you know what I'm saying? And he still stops some people. Yeah, he had some 6-rounders, I know, in between his championship fights. I don't care. I don't care. It's an accomplishment. And very few fighters out there. There are not many, throughout the history of boxing, there's not many undefeated fighters in the history of boxing. It's a big thing. Now, it's funny how when Rocky Marciano went undefeated, everybody made a big hula hoop about that, right? I guess because of who he was and where he came from, they made a big hula hoop out of that, okay? Nobody wanted anybody to break Rocky Marciano's record and blah, 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 right? Now, it's funny. As soon as Floyd broke Rocky Marciano's record fighting Conor McGregor, everybody was against Crawford. Oh, that's the last fight you're going to have, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hey, man, it's not a big deal. When he and Manny Austin broke Floyd Mayweather's shout out to Intangible Boxing. Intangible thinks that AJ would beat Tyson Fury. Okay. I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Now I'm riding with my boy Tyson Fury to the end. I think Tyson should be able to beat Deontay Wilder again. He should. And then we're gonna see Tyson Fury versus AJ if AJ gets past Pulev. Remember, he still gotta face Pulev. So we gotta see if AJ can get past Pulev. AJ is, I'm not gonna lie, he is a student of the sweet science. I'm seeing it now in him. I respect him. He proved me wrong. So I'm not going to make any definitive statement on Tyson Fury. But we got to first see Tyson Fury try and get past Wilder. because they doing their homework. Wilder and they doing their homework right now. They training and shit. Then we gotta see if he gets past Wilder, then and AJ gets past Pulev. So we just gotta hope they get past the people they're supposed to face. Then we're gonna see if they who would win between them. You know what I'm saying? But I personally believe that Tyson Fury would beat, as of now, he would beat AJ. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. I know he does get caught with right hands and can get knocked down, but I just think that I think Tyson Fury beats AJ. Intangible Boxing says Larry Holmes should have been the real 50-0. Rocky couldn't carry my jock strap. um, yeah, because Michael Spinks didn't beat him the first time. I got you. He should have gotten that. It wouldn't have been 50-0. It would have been 49-0. I think he was 48-0. He was going for the 49-0. He was gonna match what Rocky Marciano was doing. He had a nice jab. Do I think that Rocky could have beaten him? Yes. Because think about this. Rocky faced Ezra Charles. If you know Ezra Charles and his fighting style, damn hard to get past his jab. It's damn hard to get. You got to con, and that's what Rocky did. He conned Ezra Charles. He bait him so he throw his jab, so he could read the jab, and then he came in with the right. That's how he put him down. You know, Rocky was a smart guy. He was a real smart boxer. Real smart boxer. You know, he took a lot of punishment, but he was a smart boxer. You know what I'm saying? Keeping that low crouch and everything. Long story short, I was looking at Mike Tyson, and he was talking to an MMA fighter, and he was showing them that whereas guys would straight up throw the jab straight at you like this, Mike Tyson could never do that. He had to throw jabs off of angles. So he would go this way and pop the jab. He'd go this way and pop the jab and come to you. So he's coming to you. You see? Chop! Chop! You see? He's coming off an angle all the time. Spare jabs, right? We've seen that with Mayweather. We've seen that with Canelo. We see that with Pacquiao. We see that with Whitaker. Them guys, they're good at slipping. They're good at slipping jabs. They don't ever throw that jab straight at you. Canelo against Triple G won. Watch how he counters Triple G's jab. Slip off the side, jab off the angle. Always low to high to get to the inside. James Toney, Mike McCallum, they all know about this shit, right? And you got different kinds of jabs, right? Roberto Duran, love to bait you with a jab. Throw out a jab, any kind of jab. Floyd would say that. Throw out a jab, any kind of jab. Bait you with the jab, right? We got the touch jabs to find location. Keep the hands at home. I'm going to touch jab you to keep your hands at home. What we do? Lock them up with a jab. Uh-oh. Not quite sure why I was interrupted, but we're back. Yeah, so, yeah, just talking a little boxing with you guys. I've been doing a little something on the side. Yeah, so, yeah, let me see what you guys been saying. Larry Holmes should have been the real 15-0. Rocky couldn't carry my jockstrap. Intangible Boxing says, I just don't think Fury has anybody with AJ's level of improvisation. I don't think AJ improvises though. From fight to fight, he has different game plans. He couldn't improvise with Andy Ruiz the first time, right? He couldn't make the adjustments to win that fight, but he came back. He studied. They worked on a game plan, and they started to get him in fit and in shape, and his body in shape for that game plan. I don't see AJ being an improviser per se. I just think that he did an excellent job of bringing back his amateur pedigree. I think he had a lot of advice from different people in some very key places that helped him to master that footwork in that game, that in and out footwork, that remote footwork where Like I said before, if I'm standing at you here and you just try to hit me here, and then I do like this, okay, you're gonna miss, right? And that's because my feet, you're not watching where my feet are planted. So if you don't know where my feet are planted, you gotta watch my feet, not my upper body. And I not necessarily have to turn with my feet, but you gotta watch my feet, because if you don't watch my feet, then you will not know when I pivot one way or I pivot the other way. You know what I mean? Another thing though, Fury's front foot game is better than AJ's back foot game. I honestly don't know. That's what I'm saying. He got better. He got better. He got a better inside fighting game than AJ, because he know how to lock you up. He know how to lock you. When I say lock you up, I don't mean lock you up like this. Okay, I mean tie you up. There's a difference between tie up, in my opinion, and clinch up. I'm explain. So if you're in the clinch, that means everything's locked up. Nobody can move their hands, or you lock down one hand, the guy's free to use his next hand. But in tying up a fighter, it's kind of like what Kell Brook would do. He would kind of get his hand in between the glove, the fighter's glove, and his body. So let's say this is my body here. The fighter's glove comes in here. I just kind of clamp down a little bit, just a little bit, to keep him back a little bit, just to stay it a little bit, right? And then I release. So his hand is free again. So I get a little delay. That's called tying a guy up. You're kind of tying it up. So you're wrestling on the inside, just looking for position, and you're basically kind of touching, just kind of clamping down a little bit and temporarily clamping down. So the referee could never say you're clinching up and tap the area, because you constantly, it's little tricky, sneaky veteran things, okay? And Tyson Fury does that, okay? Anthony Joshua don't know nothing about that. He talked about Mike Tyson. You know, he want to get position on the inside, rough you up. Tyson Fury, like, he got that inside game really down pat. The man's well schooled, all right? And if you know the history of the gypsies, the traveling, because boxers, that's where it came from. Boxers were gypsies that used to travel from place to place and fight, okay? That's why Tyson Fury said, I come from the gypsy culture. I'm a traveler. He can go anywhere in the world and whoop ass. Anywhere in the world, okay? Because he didn't come from Europe. He didn't come from the UK, okay? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, he got tradition. He got a culture that goes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years back, thousands of years back, to the early Egyptians, you know, Sumerian Empire. You know what I'm saying? He know about that shit. So it's not just, it's a culture of people who fight. It has nothing to do with race. It's a culture though. So it's an ethnical thing, but it's a culture of people who fight. They go from place to place and they fight. They're gladiators. Okay. That's what he is. So he knows some shit, man. Tyson Fury knows some old school shit. Even when you look at him use the shell and shit, you know, just the way how he protect his body properly. Because like who was it? James Toney was working on the same MMA guy. And the MMA guy, he didn't know how to shell up properly. See, that's the problem. A lot of people want to use the shell, but they don't understand the purpose of the shell. They don't understand how to shell up properly. They don't understand the proper positioning you got to have. Like, not everybody can use the shell, okay? Because everybody's not taught properly. You got to be taught properly how to use the shell to start with, right? So all his side was exposed. So James Toney was just showing him how I could just I'd be stabbing knives. I'd be stabbing you up in the middle right there. And then I'm a rip you to the body on this side and come over the top and rip you to the head. You know, he showed it. There's a clip of it out there. But the guy wasn't shelling up correctly. He didn't have his body positioned properly to deal with James Toney. And so a lot of times when people doing demonstrations, because they know it's a demonstration, but you're not doing it properly. You know what I'm saying? If you do the shell properly, just like if you do the turtle shell properly, if you do the Philly shell properly, George E. Benton, no motherfucker could touch him. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Master of the shell. All right? But it's not just shell up. You gotta move with it. You gotta move with it. You gotta move with it. You understand what I'm saying? You gotta move with it. You gotta move your body. It's not just shell up. And a lot of people just don't understand that. You know? So back to what I was saying. So yeah, with Tyson Fury, man, that man got a lot of experience in boxing, man. Out hundreds of years of experience. So I don't know how. Well, not hundreds of years of experience, but 100 years of teaching, and that's all he did. He grew up with guys fighting all the time. You know, his father used to fight, etc., etc. So Anthony Joshua, though, scientist of the craft, I'm not gonna rule him out, but I picked Tyson. I favor Tyson Fury to win that fight. I favor Tyson Fury to beat Deontay Wilder again. It might be a tougher fight because Deontay Wilder might actually come with something to bring to the table that Tyson Fury didn't see before. Maybe. I mean, I'm giving Wilder a chance. He's a true champion. He decided he want to get a rematch. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. He's not that level of a boxer that he can beat a Tyson Fury. I just don't think so. As much as Tyson Fury is sloppy as hell. You think AJ's front foot and inside game is better than Wilder's and Klitschko's? Klitschko not really an inside fighter. Neither is Wilder. So yeah, I got you on that. Yeah, you right. Those two just control range, so the 1-2 type guys that Fury can take advantage of with length. Yeah, but Fury didn't take advantage with length though. He fought on the inside of Wilder. I think AJ can change things up. Boy, dude, it's gonna be hard, man. It's just hard. Cause it's not just a front foot game. Fury can fight on the inside going backwards or forwards. He can pivot around you, he could turn you. Like that's the thing. Didn't you see him turning Wilder against the ropes? You know, the guy got a lot of things going on, man. Tangible Boxing says Dave Holly in the 1890s was the originator of the Philly shell. Yes. Okay. Other guys like Ted Kid Lewis and people like that used it coming before Benton. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's not the point though. The point is George E. Benton show you how to use the Philly shell correctly. But thank you for the information. Even though I think Dave Holly fought Langford and them guys. I think it was either Langford or it was Barbados Joe Walcott. I saw Dave Holly fighting. But anyway, I don't know if he was the inventor of that. I wouldn't say he was the inventor either. I would say that shell being around for a while. That's all I'm saying. And people pass it down. People pass down different information to different people and refine it and etc. And again, I use Georgie Benton because the evolution of the shell is a whole other story. Like you started off talking about guys back in the day who was doing things, and that's cool. But these things evolved over time as well. It wasn't just see. That's the thing. Okay, take for instance Sam Langford. If you go and watch the footage of Sam Langford, right? He don't move around the ring like all of that. Okay, he don't do a whole set of moving, right? He walk to you, generally try to walk you down, right? Fighters today are different to yesteryear. It's a good thing because we're talking about what I said, the next topic that we're going to talk about. Fighters today of yesteryear don't fight the same way like the guys of yesteryear in many different ways. One of them is guys of yesteryear were trying to go in there and just duke it out like wild cocks. Okay, they would just there was some strategy and everything and all of that, but at the end of the day, they was going to try and throw as hard punches as they can. Okay. Guys today are more strategic about that. They're not just going to engage all the time. All right. And so go watch Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia, for example. Okay. Keith Thurman, first of all, was rocking Danny Garcia early, and then in the later parts of the fight, he was boxing him. Okay. So guys of yesteryear used to do some of that. Yes. But for the most part, they was always looking for that opening, that advantage, that little trick to exploit it and just explode. Okay, and they would both explode at the same time. Okay, now, and boxing was if modern fans, casual fans today was to see throwback fights, they'd be bored as fuck. Okay, because you got these big lulls where it just looked like they ain't doing shit. They just circling one another, right? But really, they're trying to look for an advantage. They're trying to look for something to get an advantage on. Some of them are not even throwing a fucking punch for a while, right? And then it'll just explode, right? So, but the thing about it is that it was a tactical game, yes, but not like today. Today, believe it or not, the tactics and the game has changed to the event where motherfuckers just don't want to make mistakes. Okay, I'm not saying that that's the plan in their mind, but people have perfected certain things and they're starting to perfect it even more. And that goes for almost all fighters. Nobody going in there just trying to wing shots anymore. Nobody's really trying to do that. Low level, C level, D level fighters are trying to do that. Nobody's just going in there and just winging. And guys don't generally wing with one another at the same time. Now, a lot of old schoolers will tell us this. They will say, well, man, guys are today and they're throwing 8 punch combinations. They're going on the mitts and they're doing all this stuff. And then they go into the ring and they're not throwing 8 punch combinations. They're not throwing 9 punch combinations. I look at them and laugh because they don't understand. You throw 8 punch combinations in this generation, they're gonna knock your fucking ass out. Right? All right. Look at Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao throws 8 punch combinations, right? He's not throwing as many punches as he used to. You know why? Because the level of competition is. If you're gonna throw in 8 punch combinations, you tell me the other guy's not gonna time you and land in between your shots. Next thing you looking at the canvas. Okay? No, nobody gonna throw 8 punch, 9 punch combinations. They're not that crazy. Okay? So it's like these things that a lot of people just don't understand though about boxing. Hold up. A lot of people started comment. This is good. I'm gonna back out of here very soon, but yeah. Tangible says he has a good inside game, but even Otto Wallen was beating him up on the inside. No, he was beating him up when he was fighting boxing on the outside. That's how he caught him in the eye and stuff. Otto Wallen was actually trying to get to the inside. When Tyson Fury said, fuck that, and started fighting him on the inside and using his weight and size, that's how he was able to tire out Otto Wallen. Because remember, he has all this fucking size, Tyson Fury. Right? So why not use my weight on size on the dude? He the smaller guy. So I'm gonna weigh him down, tire him out. Kudos to Otto Wallen on okay, they didn't come to me. Kudos to Otto Wallen on what I liked about him was he came on strong in the 12th round. But fucking Tyson Fury said, oh, you want to do that? You want to fight on the inside? Let's fight on the inside. He started beating his ass up. He started beating his ass. That's why he got tired. And he putting his weight down on him. AKA Joey Maxim. Who, by the way, I underrated. Joey Maxim beat some heavyweights, man. He beat some dudes. And I started watching some of his fights. He's a crafty motherfucker. He was tricky in a different way. He wasn't as skilled as some of them other guys. But Archie Moore even said Joey Maxim was one of the tougher fights he had. Which is interesting. I didn't think that Archie Moore would say something like that, but he did. He also talked about Charlie Burley and shit, when I remember his name. Yeah, Dave Holly beat Langford. That's right. His performance is why I think Mayweather would defeat Langford. Ah, okay. I never saw the fight though. I don't think there's footage on it. Wish I could see it. Let's see what we got. Dave Holly was, I think, a contemporary, even though he wasn't in the same weight class, he was a contemporary of what's this kid? Joe Gans. One of the longer reigning lightweights nobody talks about. And I'm not saying that Joe Gans was the bomb, okay? I'm just saying that Joe Gans uh, was a scientist. That's at least from what we read about him, right? Get his ass whooped, he turned around, start really working out his science, realize why he lost and everything, and he be working on it, boy. He working on them game plans, boy. He gonna come back bigger and stronger. Might beat you, and come back bigger and stronger. You know what I'm saying? Better at least, more prepared. Intangible Boxing says, I disagree. Last couple of nights, I watched Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, and O'Brien was moving around, pot shotting from the outside, a little explosive to his shot, even though, well, you got different guys who, again, I'm not like I said, you can go watch Harry Wills. right? Watch Harry Wills. Harry Wills remind you of some modern day fighters. You can go watch at this dude that faced Sam Langford a number of times. They got footage of it on YouTube. But what I'm saying is, with these fights, all right, I'm talking about again the strategy. Them guys, I don't care what you say, they want to knock the other guy out, right? They go in there to get the KO, right? And Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, same thing, all right? Yes, they're moving around the ring, okay? But not the game plan is not the same as guys today. That's what I'm saying. So let me see if I can give you a good example of what I'm talking about. In fact, if you listen to Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard says to steal the show, you must finish strong. Sugar Ray Leonard must always say that. But it's not necessarily the case where you have to close the show and finish strong. And fighters today are realizing that. Okay? I think not just Mayweather. Colonel Whitaker was another one. Mayweather was one of the guys that changed the game in respect to that. He didn't always close the show. You know what I'm saying? I did enough. I'm cool. I'm gonna coast this last round, right? Colonel Whitaker was kind of the same way. A lot of people criticize him for that. Why didn't you just get the guy out of there? He was outclassing him, outbeating him, get him out of there, right? Let me see. I'm trying to think of some other guys. But anyway, so you find that what you find is that it's all about strategy. If I know I beat this guy clearly on the scorecards, and everybody's like, well, you beat him so easily, why don't you just finish him, right? That's what everybody had with these guys. Well, they say they have so much ability and skill, why don't you just finish these guys? But the way how boxing is today, if you try to get a guy out of there and you realize you can't get him out of there, what are you wasting your time trying to get him out of there for? Besides that, most boxers today don't go in to fights thinking I'm going to KO this guy because then I'm going to get my ass KO. So a lot of boxers now go into fights saying, if the knockout come, it come, right? I'm going in there to win, primarily to win. And I think when they're not forced into guys like Deontay Wilder, they talk about, I'm going in there to knock this motherfucker out, all right? But a lot of other guys are not saying that. They're going in there, even the knockout artists today, the guys who are knocking people out left, right, and center, just knocking people out, right? They tell you, even Triple G used to say that, you know, even though he said big drama show, he said, I'm not going in to press a knockout. I'm just doing what I need to do. And if the knockout come, it come. And I think that's a better attitude because a lot of the throwback fighters, I can think of a whole bunch of them, when they did not the early throwback fighters, because I don't know too much about those guys. We don't have footage of them commenting on fights and all of that stuff. So I can't know what their mindset was particularly. I just watch it how they fight and I say, oh, their mindset is to knock this guy out. But a lot of throwback fighters that we got interviews with would talk about how, man, this guy surprised me. I couldn't knock him out. And then they end up getting knocked out or they end up losing the fight. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen it time and time again in boxing with modern boxers. So what I'm saying is that the evolution of boxing has changed. It's changed. The mindset of fighters has changed. In addition, you may find exceptions in the past, you know, guys who were ahead of their time and progressive or whatever. But it wasn't the mode of the day. You may find one or two fighters who, you know, wasn't focused on knocking out their opponent, just, you know, getting the better of their opponent, and if they knocked them out, great, or whatever. So I'm just saying that there are so many boxers in boxing, I can't really definitively say X, Y, or Z about anything. But what I can say is from the information and available stuff I see, and I am a proponent about talking about the evolution of boxing because I do believe when people in boxing or fans of boxing get more educated on the sport of boxing, they'll be able to make more sensible decisions on fights and everything else, okay? Because they're better informed. Because there's a lot of bullshit out there that is based on the legend of a boxer. It's based on the legend of a boxer. It's not based on the reality of what really actually happened. And all I'm trying to do is set the reality of that boxer into perspective. So when you're looking at the progression of boxing, you understand how these people contributed to different aspects of the sport of boxing. Like you said, Dave Holly is one of the people principally being considered as a guy who showcased the Philadelphia shell. You know what I'm saying? At least where they say it allegedly came from Philadelphia. I don't know if it came from Philadelphia, but a lot of Philadelphia boxers apparently use it, right? So I think that though that Georgie Benton was the guy that I love to watch doing it, because when I watch footage of him, just the way how he had his own way of using the shell. He had his own way of, and that's another thing. A lot of people say, well, this guy originated the shell. Everybody don't use the shell the same way. Everybody don't use the shell the same way, right? You look at James Toney use the shell. Then you look at Mike McCallum use the shell, and then you look at Floyd use the shell. They all use the shell differently, right? The fundamental principles of using it and when to use it, they do, but they all use it differently. Oh man, all these interruptions. Right, so let me see. I'm gonna get to your comments because a lot of y'all been talking. Poopy Sister says, so you think Dillian White can beat Lennox Lewis since boxing evolved? No, hell no. He can't beat Lennox Lewis. All right. But then again, Dillian White is not the top tier guy. If you want to talk about Lennox Lewis, then you got to refer to somebody who is top right now. Whether it's Anthony Joshua, whether it's Tyson Fury, those are the two top guys. So if you ask me a fair question, I give you a fair answer. That's not a fair question. If you're gonna take a top tier guy from the last 20 years, because Lennox Lewis he was around in the 2000s, so he's been around the last 20 years, right? That's another thing. I was listening to you. You're not gonna compare a guy today and expect that the guy today would lose to a guy 100 years ago. That's just not. That makes no damn sense. And unless you're gonna put him back 100 years ago and somehow shrink him down. And then you gotta take away all the information he knows today and let him learn the stuff that the guys back then had. Yeah, of course he probably could lose to the guy then. But I think with all the information he knows now and the health science and all of that, he find a way to get the right people around him and probably revolutionize boxing back then, because he came from, it's like a time traveler. If guys could time travel back into the past, if you could time travel back into the past, you'd have a much more higher advantage over some of the people in the past, depending on when in the past you go. But let's just say it's a civilized society, right? You know about the internet. You know about all kinds of shit, okay? You're going back into the past. You know about entrepreneurship. You know about business. All you need to do is find out how the atmosphere in the past was, because people are people, and you do great in the past, more than likely, okay? Well, it's the same kind of idea, right? Because if you have 100 years of boxing available to you now, we're watching all these fights. The boxers all watched all the footage of these guys, okay? They watched all these guys growing up. They idolized certain ones. They took from them, borrowed little things from them. You're going to tell me that the top tier guys, exceptional guys of this era, go back into the past, right? The exceptional guys of that era, and they don't have a whole bunch of advantages over those guys? They got every advantage over those guys. They wouldn't even be fighting in the same weight class. Floyd is 147. Pacquiao is 147, right? They're really 140 pounders. But guess what? In the past, guys were exactly their size. They're the real welterweights. Because the welterweight limit was 147, and on fight day, you had to weigh 147 max. In fact, at certain points in time, they would be big welterweights because 145 pounds was the limit at a certain point in time, right? So those guys would do great in the past. They do exceptionally well in the past, especially they train all the time, and they fight more regularly. They fight a lot more cab drivers, okay? But, they would do great. They would do just fine. They'd have to find, well, not really, because, again, the health science is there. It's in the past. It's just that you're going to use you're gonna be able to. You have to get the health science yourself and do a lot of things yourself, and educate people on boxing with the health science that you know. But I'm just saying that these guys would do extraordinarily well. Okay, 100 years ago, I like we were having a debate in Facebook on Facebook boxing groups about the four kings and stuff. They're almost the five kings, but whatever. And a lot of people rate certain of those, almost all of the four kings. Like if you didn't face the four kings, then you had weak competition in your era. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Sugar Ray Leonard is a great fighter, so I'm not going to even try him. But he essentially faced seven. His whole marquee thing is he faced seven champions. Okay, that's it. I'm not gonna, because they weren't all Hall of Famers. Okay, I believe he faced. I think he faced. Let me see, 7 champions. He faced Benavidez. That's how he won his WBC championship. Then he faced Dennis Andrews. He faced also that was the 154-pound champ. For those who don't know, not Dennis Andrews. It wasn't Dennis Andrews. Sorry, my bad. It was the African dude. Dennis Andrews was a guy that was at light heavy? Was it light heavy? One of them. Hearns faced Dennis Andrews. I'm mixing it all. But he faced the light heavyweight guy. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's for African light heavyweight guy. Good fighter. I'm not slighting the dude. Then he faced Thomas Hearns. That was 3. Then he faced Marvin Hagler, right? He faced Roberto Duran, lost to him, and then he won. That's 5. Then he lost to Terry Norris, and he lost to Hector Camacho, right? All Hall of Famers, right? 7. Now, not 7. Yeah, 7. Yeah, that's right. Right. That's his whole entire fucking career, okay? That's it. That's his career. All right? Now, the thing about it is, a lot of people rate those 4 guys. In fact, Benavidez even. If you go and look right now, if you look at rankings of the greatest Puerto Rican fighters, Benavidez, not Benavidez, what I'm saying, Benitez is the guy at the top. Isn't that weird? Hey, let me see what you guys are saying. Keep it going. Oh, yeah, okay. That was Pubi Sisron, right. So, a lot of people come up with this theory, oh, so you think boxing has evolved, so George Foreman shouldn't have beaten Michael Moore. I mean, 20, 30 years is the gap, right? That's 20, 30 years, but by that time, as you move on, boxing evolves. So if you tell me about an elite fighter and another elite fighter, you know what I'm saying? And what you guys do is some really whack ass arguments. Like you would try and take the weakest of the elite boxers and you try to pit them against the strongest of another era or some shit like that. Y'all so funny as fuck. Y'all wouldn't take the highest level guys and I face them against the highest level guy. You would never do that. Which is funny to me. But nonetheless, except if it's Floyd Mayweather, of course. Then, he's a chicken, he's a college chipper, so I get you. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, from what I see, I pit somebody from 100 years ago against somebody of now, just hypothetically. I pick the guy from now to beat the guy from 100 years ago if they're elite fighters. All right? Because I just think that boxing has come a long way from that. And like I try to explain to you guys, the sweet science kind of changed a bit. And if you look at guys who used to dance around the ring, use a lot of energy, upper body movement to stay out of the center line. People don't do that shit no more. They got a stance, and that stance is designed in such a way that it's hard to hit them. And they're doing all this excessive movement and shit, right? And so there's a lot of things that people just don't understand. Yeah, the guys used to sometimes parry, try to keep their hands at home, all that kind of shit. I know they used to dance around a lot more. People talk about boxers dancing around now. God damn it, you should see those guys dancing back then. They just dancing in front of each other and then pot a shot here. It's funny as fuck, trust me. and they were not as well conditioned as they are now. I don't care what y'all say. They weren't. Just weren't. All right? And you would say, oh, but them guys used to go 15 rounds and they only got 12 now. Yeah, that's true. They used to go 20 rounds too. Man, there was a point in time when they had unlimited rounds. You go until somebody drop. Okay? That don't mean they more well conditioned because they can do that. He's doing it in the hot sun outdoors and blah. Look at him like that don't mean that they more well conditioned than these guys. All right. Not saying that they aren't, but I'm just saying that doesn't mean that just because they're doing that. Okay. And I know what I mean. A lot of times they lock up a lot. Those guys used to lock up a lot and rest on each other. And that makes sense. It's a marathon. That's a long haul. We go till we drop. It's a long haul. Of course, I don't want to go into it, but we all know old school rules, doghouse rules in the Mayweather boxing gym was like that. You go till you fucking drop. As they say, until you die. Slay or be killed, right? So guys would go until somebody drop. Now that's whenever. Okay? But that's a long story short. That's just Mayweather boxing gym. I'm sure there's other boxing gyms that they employ that same technique with. Right? That's what you guys be saying in here. Tangible says Kosai Tanaka knocks out Jimmy Wild. Don't know too much about Kosai Tanaka. I still haven't checked him out, my boy. I know Jimmy Wild came all the way up from Super Feather, right? Was Super Feather? Or was it Super Fly? I think some shit like that. Fly. They didn't have no Super Fly. It's just Fly. Yeah. But yeah. He would fly to welterweight like Pacquiao, right? It's possible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know too much about Jimmy Wild. I know he fought some great veterans, some guys at the end of their career and shit, but that's all good. He fought some names. You know, Carlos Ortiz. Now you're talking about a real dude. He was a great lightweight, man. I think rules and trends change, but there are too many new skills in the game. There aren't too many new skills in the game. New prospects are more defensive. That is an evolution. They just see someone fight defensively, effectively, and use it. Now, I disagree with you. 100%. There are new skills in the game. There are new techniques in the game. And there are new mental approaches to the game. And the game is different. It's different. And it's not just being defensive. Defense is very important in boxing, of course, 100%. But it's that guys who would have gotten knocked out before by certain shots. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you could take a guy from the 80s and bring him up into this era, he get knocked the fuck out pretty early because at the elite level, especially at welter, with these welterweights right now, he get knocked the fuck out clean early. You can't be making those kinds of mistakes they was making in the 80s. You can't be making them kind of fucking mistakes. Now, these guys today would eat you alive with that shit. You throwing a punch and you're not getting your hand back in time? Motherfucker, you time that and knock you the fuck out. You're not putting back your hands in time. These are fundamental shit I'm talking about. You're not getting away with that shit. Not in this year. Sorry. You get knocked the fuck out. And that's what you guys don't understand. Keeping their defense tight. And then the way how these guys keep their defense tight these days is just on a whole other level because it's so more athletic. So they can hold their defense a lot stronger and shit. Look, I don't want to go into that. Like I said before, we're talking boxing now. This is not bullshit. I'm not bullshit talking nobody. We're talking boxing here. And that's a totally different... The way how guys carry their body, their coordination, carrying their body and carrying the weight. Ah, Jesus. I don't want to even go into it because y'all, it's different. That's all I'm going to say. It's just different. The science involved and stuff is just different. You throw back into time, all right? Which 6'4" heavyweight could move like any one of the heavyweights today, like Lennox Lewis, like any one of the heavyweights today. In fact, 6'4" is short now. 6'4", well, not any of the heavyweights, actually. I'm being exaggerating because there's some heavyweights that sloppy as fuck, real sloppy. But Like the guys moving today, they move different, man. As heavyweights. And they big, but they not big and lumbersome and slow as fuck. You know, some of them is like cats, man. They like Lennox Lewis, man. Lennox Lewis is a cat, motherfucker. He was only 6'4" though. Entitled Boxing says Carlos Ortiz was better than Benitez. He had a better resume. Yeah, he had a better resume. Bar none. Him and what's that kid from? I think it was from Panama. He and that other guy used to duke it out, man. Forgot his name. Ishmael Laguna. Jimmy Wild was the inaugural flyweight champion. Okay. Yeah, he's way back into time. Intangible Boxing News says Evander Holyfield would be undisputed today, in my opinion, and nothing will ever change my mind on that. Nah. Oh, you mean today? Oh, okay, yeah. Let me think about that. He was a bad motherfucker. That boy could fight. Nah. Now, let me tell you why. But it depends. I mean, James Toney's not there anymore. If James Toney was there, he whooped Evander Holyfield ass. Evander Holyfield don't know what's going on when he facing James Toney. Okay, James Toney confused his ass forever. Right? Evander was a good fighter. A great fighter, actually. But you see, Evander. Nah. Nah, he would not be champion. I'm gonna tell you why. He gotta go through Ortiz first. That's a tough task in and of itself. Don't let Wilder fool you. Ortiz can fight and he can box. That would have been a tough ass fight for. You see, you don't understand. Holyfield takes risks, but then when you keep on getting popped and you're not getting your shots in on the other guy, Holyfield fought Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe would have gotten his ass beat by Lennox Lewis. You know why? Lennox Lewis is like, he got the same mindset of the fighters today. You make a mistake, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay. And you're not going to get me back just like that. I'm going to make you work for it. Lennox Lewis beat the crap out of Holyfield twice. He beat him up. He beat him up. Right? He got to get past Luis Ortiz first. Before I could even say he could beat them tough guys. He got to get past Luis Ortiz. He might get Anthony Joshua. He might. But them guys today, like I said before, the guys today, they're not going to just let you hit them. Like how Riddick Bowe was letting Evander Holyfield hit him. You got all that range, all that length. You can fight on the inside. And you letting this guy ragdoll you. And now you talking with a slur. No disrespect to Riddick Bowe, man. You great champion and everything. But, dude, you fought the wrong fight. You could beat that guy easy. Easy. Evander Holyfield can get beat easy with your size. And you even using your size and weight on that little guy. Well, you did try and use it. Nah. And I got Lewis beating Riddick Bowe. That's why Riddick Bowe didn't even bother to face Lewis. I heard Lewis knocked him out in the amateurs. People don't understand. Lennox Lewis is let me tell you, the baddest heavyweight of all time, who sits down and comments all the time. It's just kind of like really quiet and calm and cool. Is Lennox Lewis. Okay? Lennox Lewis is a bad motherfucker. All right? The only reason why Lennox Lewis lost to them two guys that he lost to is because he went into the fight I don't know what was wrong with this dude, but he just did not prepare himself mentally for these guys. I don't know if he lost interest in boxing, and he got lazy and sloppy. Like he was watching lazy and sloppy in boxing. If you look at younger Lennox Lewis, that motherfucker was dynamic. He used to he moved in the ring like a fucking cat, man. He jump on you and just destroy your ass. You know what I'm saying? That's what I never understood. Young Mike Tyson takes young Lennox Lewis. I just don't see it, Ninja. I don't see it. Okay, maybe it's something wrong with me, but maybe I need to go back rewatch all their fights or something. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see him beating Lennox Lewis ever. Like Lennox Lewis, he knew how to clinch you up if he needed to lock you up or whatever he needed to do, you know. I just didn't see it. And Tyson, a hell of a fighter, but no, not against Lennox Lewis, man. He was never going to win against Lennox. And he was never going to win against Evander. It's just what it is. Evander is a clever, crafty fighter and uses his head a lot. I mean, literally. Timothy Bradley and him use their head. They got their head. It's two hands and a head, okay? Evander was great. No disrespect to Evander, but dude, you used to butt people and bust their eye and shit, though. You used to headbutt them. Don't even play like you didn't headbutt people. And y'all know this is true. Timothy Bradley and Evander Holyfield used to use their head. Don't go like, no. Cotto used to hit you with low blows and Tito. Okay, Tito will hit you with low blow when you get an advantage on him. And so did Cotto. But them motherfuckers used to use their head, okay? You gotta watch out for their head. That's how Tyson, in the second fight, he bit him because he was just butting the shit out of him. He butted the shit out of him in the first fight, too. No disrespect to Holyfield, though. Did what you got to do to win, brother. He would still beat Tyson, hands down. And the referee didn't call it, free reign. It's boxing. I'm just saying. Woo. Jack Johnson, he was listed as 6 foot, but that's inaccurate. Oh, I learned something today. I don't know if he'll be undisputed today, though. Like I said before, with Evander Holyfield. Tangible Boxing says 6'4", Jack Johnson. He was listed as 6'0", but that's inaccurate. Yeah, well, I don't know what he was, though. Hell of a fighter, too, Jack Johnson. I watched some clips of him. He laughing while he beating them guys. Mostly white dudes, though. He should have fought some more black guys. Not saying he didn't fight black guys coming up, but as a heavyweight championship, guess some of the black dudes a lie. He didn't. Because he knew that money-making fights was really the white dudes. So it is what it is, but still, I would like to see that. I think Evander is the best heavyweight technically of all time. I disagree. 100%. Technically. What are you talking about? The technician was like, Lennox Lewis is a technic. I don't know what you mean. Maybe you mean like as a small guy coming up. He's like the Pacquiao of the heavyweights. You know, he overachieved. He was really should have been fighting that cruiser or light heavyweight, not heavyweight. And he kind of, he overachieved in my opinion, which was great. Mike Tyson was another one that overachieved in my opinion as well. And I get why Tyson and Holyfield like Pacquiao. They just smaller dudes fighting bigger dudes. And Pacquiao was seen as a smaller dude fighting bigger dudes. So I get it. Tangible Boxing says Holyfield had to take huge risks. Riddick was much bigger, extremely long, huge power. Yeah, but he didn't use it. He didn't use his size and his reach and his height to his advantage. What I mean by that is, look how Tyson Fury handled Deontay Wilder, right? Physically, you're heavier than the dude. You're supposed to be pushing that guy down, pushing down on his neck. Riddick Bro didn't do that shit. Lennox Lewis did that shit to Tyson. And tired him out, slow him down. He done already the quicker dude. You know what I'm saying? Holyfield, quicker dude. You know, Holyfield didn't have no chance against Tyson. It wasn't like, no chance against Lewis at all. Lewis shut him out. He didn't even give him a chance to get momentum, right? James Toney confused him, right? But bar none, he's up there with the greatest heavyweights of all time. No doubt about that. No disputing that, in my opinion. It's all opinion. But I get you, man. I get you on that too. I hear you on that. I can't knock your thought on Holyfield because I feel the same way about him. You know, he overachieved. And he did a hell of a job, and he beat a lot of people. You know, he stayed at the top for a very long time too. Well, not very long time, but he was one of the guys that stayed at the top. You can't dispute that. You know, you can't knock him. You just can't. Evander Holyfield could move. Nah, not that much. I would say, yeah, he would shift and sidestep. He had nice little box step pivots. But I would just say though that he wasn't really a mover. Like you wouldn't see Evander Holyfield going behind a jab and boxing around the ring like that. You wouldn't necessarily see him doing that. He wasn't a boxer. He could fight defensively. Yeah, he had that turtle shell he used. And he rolled punches as well sometimes. Yeah. He get to the inside. Yeah, that was his thing, getting to the inside. And he'd take a little punishment to get to the inside too. Yeah, we rough outs. That's true. He threw combos, 1-2, do almost everything. Yeah, man, he did. He was good. It was good, no doubt about it. I wouldn't call him a boxer though. He got a boxing lesson from James Toney. He got a boxing lesson from Michael Moore. Watch Holyfield versus Cowie. Yeah, at light heavyweight. He was boxing around the ring early, throwing combos. I would say this. I'm gonna check it back out again. That's what I'm gonna do. But Muhammad Cowie, right? From what I recall of that fight, and that was a hell of a fight, by the way. I don't recall him necessarily going on the back foot fighting Cowie, but I'm gonna check it out again because I can't remember. I really can't remember that fight. I remember watching it, but I can't remember the fight. And I was like in awe how he beat him, you know. But I can't remember how that fight went exactly, so I'm gonna check it out. Muhammad Cowie. Was that a cruiser though? I think that was a cruiser or light heavy. Wasn't he? No, he wasn't a light heavyweight champion. He was a cruiserweight champion. That's right. Muhammad Holyfield fought Cowie in his 12th fight. He was piecing up Cowie early with the jab combination. Then he gassed, and Cowie staggered him multiple times. And Holyfield found it hard to come back late. Yeah, his defense wasn't that great, was it? He never really had great defense. He had good defense, but not great. And win a close decision. One of my all-time favorite fights. I remember. I just can't remember. I gotta go back and watch that though. I did watch it. Yeah. I can't remember the fight. Really can't remember the fight right now. So much shit in boxing I've watched. I watch too much boxing. That's the problem. Like some things just kind of come in and out of my mind now. Like I vaguely remember them. But it's good though. You actually, yeah, I gotta go back and watch that, dude. I remember it though. I was like, whoa, man, that was an incredible fight. I remember it. But you know what makes those fights incredible? The fact that these guys have flaws, that they have vulnerabilities, and the other guy can exploit it. That's what makes those fights so incredible. I remember Larry Merchant saying, nobody wants to see a perfect fighter. People want to see a guy who got vulnerabilities and flaws because that leads to drama, that leads to excitement. So that's why they love the Gaddy War fights so much. You know what I'm saying? The heart the fighter has to use now, or they always had heart, but I'm just saying that they display that everybody can see, you know. So it is what it is. That's why I'm saying today the fights are not exciting because guys are really starting to fight better. Strange as it might sound, you know, they keep into the fundamentals. And then if you look at Danny Garcia, he got a unique style, man. That even the way how he block punches and stuff is just different. You never see nobody do that kind of technique and their skill. That's why I don't understand when you say, you know, they're not no new skills or new techniques. I just don't understand it. I don't understand what you're talking about. They even have new techniques of training now. You know, they don't use this. They don't use the pads like that anymore. They do all kinds of different things, man. Boxing changed. Some guys don't even do road work anymore. You know, they just be in a hyperbaric chamber running and shit. Boxing has changed, man. It's changed. But it is what it is. I mean, I just wish people would be able to be more elastic to the evolution and the change in it. And we've seen so many other things that happen. YouTubers are now fighting. We've seen cross promotional fights, big cross promotional, not cross promotional. What the fuck am I talking about? Cross fight discipline fights. So you're seeing boxing versus MMA. We're seeing boxing and wrestling. We're seeing boxing and kickboxing, right? So kickboxers come together with boxers, and we're seeing a lot of interesting things. And for a lot of people who are not open-minded to this, they call themselves boxing purists, but they're just not open-minded to it. It's entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun watching boxing, then stop watching it. And so I just think that it's good. You know, we had BKB, which is bare knuckle brawls. We got all that now. People bringing back bare knuckle brawls. We also had BKB in California, what was big. What was it? Big knockout boxing. I don't know what happened to that. I'm not hearing much about it anymore. But that was good too. I mean, it's up to you what you want to see, and keep your minds open to the fact that the sport's going to evolve. It's not going to stay the same. So stop trying to think of it in a fixed way. I try to explain to a lot of people that if you, I mean, some people just watch a lot of boxing. Like I have a new friend from uh, from Facebook, and he watches every single fight that's on TV right now. Like every single fight on ESPN he's seen. And he comments on every single fight at the end of the fight. And I'm like, God damn, dude, I wish I could do that. you know? Um, that's some dedication to boxing, dude. You know, and that's the thing about it is the sport is one in which it's always evolving, always changing. You know, rules are always changing and things are always happening. And I just hope that people realize, just like the internet, just like how we used to learn one way back in the day, now we got, access to information in a whole different way. We can learn a whole different way and do things. I've seen people master the violin in months. That used to take years to do, and now people are doing it at a phenomenal rate. And the kids today just different. It's a different world. So because it's a different world, if you're not able to catch up with the changes that are happening in that world, you're going to be left behind. Okay? So those people who are nostalgic for the past and say, listen, it has its place in everything. It's vital. It's instrumental. We're not going to undervalue these people. But let's not make it sound like that's it. That's the golden age. Boxing never going to come. Shut up with that crap. We seen boxing on TV. It finally got on TV. We got free fights. Everybody's always complaining about pay-per-views. Now, pay-per-views are still there, but you can watch some really high-quality fights, not just like the ESPN Friday night fights, which were good too, but they're not as great as these are. Free TV. People are not really paying attention to the fact that we're getting more boxing. You should be happy about that. No, a lot of people are just depressed and they talk this and they're always negative about things and they're negative about our present stars today. Like you're saying, even though I don't really follow the kid yet, the Japanese boxer from super featherweight, which you talk about, was a sensation right now. I forgot what his name is, so I'm trying to look for it right now. You said that Carlos Ortiz would beat Benitez. Well, Carlos Ortiz was a lightweight. Benitez was a super lightweight moving up, but I kind of get what you're saying, but not really. Kosai Tanaka, who was a super featherweight, would knock Jimmy Wild out. No doubt about it, my brother. Even though I don't know who Kosai Tanaka is, in that I've seen him once or twice, but I never really watched all his fights or anything, right? So I don't really know him like that, but I would assume that he should be able to knock out Jimmy Wild, who would be sizably smaller than him. No matter that Jimmy Wild went up to welterweight, he was a 145 pounder. Kosai Tanaka, even though he's super featherweight, which is basically a 130 pounder, probably comes into the ring at a 140. Okay? 145. Okay? So Kosai Tanaka, who is a super featherweight, would beat Jimmy Wild, who is a welterweight. Why? Because weight classes have changed. Right? We have the same weight classes, but we don't have same day weightings. Okay? Now, Jimmy Wild, obviously, would have been fighting guys on a regular basis. Okay? But not top tier, high quality guys. No, he'd be facing guy after guy after guy. Gotta get adjusted to the style, what they bring to the table, the unorthodox nature, and all of that. Yes. But would he beat Kosai Tanaka? No. Elite guy. Real elite guy. He'd be like not just learning boxing, but getting the right nutrition and all that shit that goes on with it. Okay, and probably has some PEDs in the system. Okay, I'm just joking, but I'm just saying you just never know, right? Yeah, maybe Jimmy Wild and they had some natural PEDs. Who knows? But at the end of the day, the pace at which fights happen now is faster than the pace back then. Everybody know this. Everybody know this. So when guys sometimes say, oh, it was a frenetic pace back in the day, you hear the report. This dude is fighting at a frenetic pace. It was faster than the pace they usually go at in the day. You know, like a lot of us, I feel like What was it? See, we try to think of things in the context of how we are today, not understanding it was different times. So there's all these kinds of factors that I just don't understand why people say, they're listening to reports on shit and they imagining it like it's how we do things today. No. And these are just some of the points that I try to express to people. That's why Jeff Mayweather, who is a trainer, he said, there ain't no guy today that would lose to a guy 100 years ago. No, of course not. Okay? And it's not no disrespect to the guys 100 years ago. They have their place. They had their Hall of Famers and all of that they face. But at the same time, you gotta understand the boxing has changed from that time, and it has evolved into a into a it's still not a really a sport, but because you can't really play it. But you get what I'm saying. It's a higher level athletic sport now. Ooh, that's okay. It's a police officer coming down the street. All right, peoples, man. That's all the questions. I got a couple more topics I just want to go through, and then I'm gonna roll it out. Uh, but I'm gonna check out that Evander Holyfield thing you said, intangible boxing. I want to check it out and see what you saying about that, because I may have to run that back, see if he really can box off the back foot with a jab. Which I know he throws jabs and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying maybe to fight the bigger fighters he had to do that. I don't know. But James Toney outboxed his ass. They said it was his heart. Maybe it was. It dropped. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So yeah, and Michael Moore gave him a boxing clinic too. I think it's the first fight. Um, yeah, got some other topics to cover, so let's try and get through them. So, two other topics I got. We're going on 2 hours strong. Great. Two other topics I want to cover is one, in the news, we also heard about the possibility of Ugas facing Terence Crawford. I want to hear what you guys got to say about it. Now, Ugas then turned around and says he want to fight. I think it's a qualifier for a belt against who was it? Was it Ugas versus Danny Garcia? No, it wasn't Danny Garcia. Who was it? Ugas versus somebody. You guys know who it is? Ugas versus Mikey Garcia. I think it's Ugas versus Mikey Garcia for I don't know, a belt. I think it's regular and regular WBA belt here. So these are all rumors, obviously. That and then there was rumors about Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao. Who Manny Pacquiao faced next? Manny Pacquiao versus Triple G. Manny Pacquiao versus they're just throwing out names. Crawford. Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. So, just a rumor mill to keep things going, right? But what do you guys think about Terence Crawford versus Terence Crawford versus again, it's hypothetical. We don't know if it'll actually come. Dennis Ugas. Dennis Ugas has beaten Terence Crawford in the amateurs. So I want to hear you guys' view on Terence Crawford versus Dennis Ugas. What do you guys think about that? In addition to talking about that in the news, there's a bunch of things that happened in the news, but one of the other things that happened in the news was that we saw the heavyweights, Dillian White chirping away, talking about how he knocked down Tyson Fury in sparring, and he would be able to beat Tyson Fury. And then there's a clip going around on the internet, at least, with a guy that looks something like Dillian White, and the guy looks like Tyson Fury, and the guy who looks like Dillian White stopped knocking down the dude who looks like Tyson Fury. I don't know if it's actually truth or not, if that footage is real. But I want to hear you guys' view on that one too. Dillian White chirping away as usual, trying to get some traction. He'll be facing Povetkin, so his opponent is Povetkin. I think that Joshua's still going to be facing Pulov. Tyson Fury going to be handling Wilder. I'm hearing that Daniel Dubois, he might be facing. Help me out with this kid's name. I always forget his name. He's a British guy as well. Them two guys locking horns. That would be good. Another British showdown between two good Brits. Hold on a second. I'm gonna come back in a second. I want to finish this off. Right. Um. Yeah. So let me just wrap this up really nice and quickly. Um. We had also a number of different celebrities and different people in boxing training and doing their thing. I really appreciate that boxing still got that little spark where there's a lot of talk, boxing talk, even during this COVID-19 situation where people really don't have a lot to do. Um, I'm going to try and revive the boxes, not talk much about, but I gotta get my footage put together first, be able to download things and so on. But look out for that. Look out for other bits and pieces of news and boxing. I'll try to keep up to date with you guys. In the meantime, man, I hope you guys have a good, again, peaceful, safe, uh, healthy period of time. Those of you who can't go out and work, I hope that you get to do something, at least secure an income for yourself. So that's all I got for now. I'm what you need, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little session. Shout out to Intangible Boxing, Poopy Sis Drunk, and also Last Samurai for your contributions on the channel. I'll be back soon. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna catch you guys later on what you need. Peace. I'm out.